My name's Roman Peshke. I run a $13,000 a month AI automation agency, and I record these videos every day documenting the journey and answering your guys' questions in the comments below each and every one of these videos. Whether it's about how to start your own AI automation agency, any problems you have coming up in the day-to-day, or just questions about life in general. So let's jump into the comments, and I just start at the bottom, get through them, and then we record my daily subscriber growth at the end. But we got from Who Said That I Didn't? Thanks for explaining how the client's location matters more than where we live when it comes to maximizing earnings from a project or service. So just to clarify, does that mean we can actively seek clients in the US while living in Asia or Africa? But wouldn't American clients be less likely to hire somebody based in, let's say, South Asia compared to somebody already living in the US? So this is from yesterday's video. I answered this question about basically pricing based on location. And so to clarify, does that mean we can actively seek clients in the US while living in other countries? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely you can. A lot of people look to hire in other countries. It's really just a merit-based system. So if you can deliver the best quality work and you can clearly communicate that to your prospective clients, then yeah, it's a winner-take-all kind of market. I guess not winner take all, but it's an open playing field, and the playing field is getting more and more leveled each and every day because offshore talent is becoming more recognized in like business owners' eyes as something that's like a real option. Now, so yeah, absolutely you can see clients in the US while living in other countries. Now, part two was, wouldn't American clients be less likely to hire somebody based in, let's say, South Asia compared to somebody already living in the US? Yes, I would say they are less likely, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try, considering the near unlimited upside potential of going after those clients. Because you can make significantly more money going after like US, Canada, maybe even Australia, going after those markets compared to your local markets wherever you are if you're in basically a nation that isn't as wealthy. Now, the trade-off is you will be less likely, but the solution to that trade-off is just outworking the outreach attempts of the native US agencies. So let's say you have half the conversion rate because you're out of the country. See if you can double your inputs as far as your lead generation efforts. And if you can, and especially if you have a lower cost of living, you can get that client with a little bit more footwork to get started, but then you are like your margins are up because your cost of living is low, and then you can reinvest that delta into bolstering your outreach efforts even more. So yes, less likely, but it's not gonna kill the business. Just requires more groundwork, and I think the reward is well worth it. From Entreat is in my school community, so thank you for the comment. We got powerful, thank you, appreciate that. Let me know in the school community, there we go, if you need help with any of the RAG stuff. I've recently created a POC for the AI recommendation agent that I am building and had to work with an embedding model in a vector database, Qdrant. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I will. If I run into any issues when setting that up, I will 100% reach out. So what he's talking about is in video, was that yesterday? Yeah, yesterday I was talking about how it's time to learn how to set up a RAG chatbot for the coaching consulting business that I'm a partner in. And the idea there is have something for existing clients to interface with when we're not on live calls that will basically have all of our information from our existing trainings and call recordings and all that. And it'll be able to pull out the relevant answer, cite the source. It's just an extra tool that will provide more value to our existing members. Then what I'm going to do is put a passcode on it so that, again, only the members can use it, and just rotate that password monthly so that it's clear in their mind that if they leave the group, they lose access to this super valuable tool. So that is the idea there. And here's what the school community looks like. And the pitch is over. All right. Do you recommend cold calling to get clients or ads? I'm hesitant on ad spend because I don't want to spend any more than $200 a month on ads, but I don't know if it'll generate enough leads for me. But at the same time, cold calling is rough when the business owners hear the same thing every day. Also, do you think sales calls are the hardest part of this whole process? I'm going to answer that last one first, but I think sales calls, it depends on who you are. If you are more of a introverted more technical person, I think sales calls could be the hardest part for you. But if you're a more natural born salesman type, then the technical part might leave you pulling your hair out. So it definitely depends. Today we're going with Strawbango Ghost, by the way. So it depends on who you are, and I think it's pretty easy to tell if you ask yourself what comes more naturally, the technical or the sales. But if you have zero sales experience, then I'd say start doing that first, see how it feels, and then you can decide if that's the hardest part for you or not. But even if it is the hardest part, it still needs doing. But that would be a good opportunity to look for a hire, like an employee or a partner, to handle your skill deficiencies and your skill gaps there. So do I recommend cold calls or ads to get clients? Depends on how much money you have. If you are tight on funds, $200 a month for ads is a bit low for a competitive landscape. I'm not saying it's not doable, but especially if you've never run ads before, it can be that's really not a good budget to be testing things out with. And you might be able to squeak by if you already know what you're doing and you set it up optimally from the start. But even then, I'd be with only $200 to put towards it, I would go towards cold call, Instagram, Facebook DM, LinkedIn DM, cold email, 100%. And then if you already have that $200 budget, I would use that to test things out with ads. That is your learning budget. And if you want to go down that path, don't expect any results and just set aside a chunk of change that you're willing to spend to learn. But so yeah, do cold calls. The issue with business owners hear the same thing every day. That does happen. Absolutely, they're used to cold calls. What you can do is basically do a pattern interrupt on your cold call with the start and just say something that they're not used to hearing. One that I've used that's pretty reliable is starting the conversation with, hey, before we get started, I just want to let you know this is a cold call. If you give me 30 seconds, could you give me just 30 seconds and then decide if you want to hang up? Usually gets a chuckle, a laugh, or they just hang up right there. But it does help to get over that initial knee-jerk no, I'd say 50% of the time. So if you integrate pattern interrupts, don't sound like a sleazeball on the phone. Do some preliminary research before. Doing that can help a lot. If you go to their Google reviews and you mention something in one of the Google reviews at the front end of that conversation and kind of weave that into whatever your pitch is or that transition, that can be a great way to not sound like everybody else. But yeah, if that's your budget, $200, cold outreach, brother. So thank you, Colvier Claire 9530. Let me know if you have any more questions about that. More than happy to help. All right, let's cover my daily sub growth really quick. I'm at 578, October 5th. No, October 6th, my bad. Sweet, action. All right, and then today got a bunch of client calls. Basically a bunch of follow-up. I was talking about onboarding the other day, 2-3 days ago. And so a bunch of these calls are going to be the final kickoff before everything's green across the board. I was talking about before when I was talking about onboarding, I said you should future pace like future outcomes with the client so they know what's coming up next. And these calls that I'm doing today are things that I set up on that initial onboarding call, let them know what would happen in between, let them know how many hours it would be to expect XYZ deliverable. So it was like within 72 hours, we'll do XYZ. On this call, we're going to do a final check over, and then I'm going to book another call in about 2 weeks as a check-in. That way, there's something else on the calendar, and we'll stay in that constant communication there. So that is what most of my day looks like. Also working on ads. So I'll be editing some video ads together, and then some more RAG learning. So that's it for today. If you have any questions about anything, comment it down below. Love y'all, and see you folks tomorrow.